buy the replacement parts, obviously you're going to have 6 spark plugs. The new boots, the one that goes on the coil side comes in a pack like this, and what I just dropped was the spring that you're going to feed down through the top of the boot that plugs into the coil, and the other boots are already on the plug wires. I think we have maybe 2 hours worth of work in this because I've never done this. There's about 4 hours of labor if you take it to a shop to have them do it, so they can probably do it in a lot less time. Like I said, we have about 2 hours in this right now. Bolts on the back, you got a bracket right here, it's like a Y. You take them 2 bolts out there and your 2 bolts out over there. On top of the intake plenum, there's 2 bolts that hold it down. 2 bolts here, and there's some other bolts on the back side of the plenum that you want to take off. There's a bolt on the front side here and one over there, and then there's 2 studs, one at this corner, one at the very other end, that you just take the 2 nuts off there. Disconnected that right there. As far as the brackets on the back go, I know that it still sits there and bolts will run through. That bracket's right here, and that bracket there connects right here. Disconnected this bracket from the top of the plenum up here, and that's about it. There's not a whole lot of hardware holding this stuff together. I'll try to show you in a second. This is all the hardware, about 4 small ones, 4 to 6, and looks like 4 to 5 bigger ones. 2 nuts, and just a handful of bolts, basically 2 nuts. Shouldn't be too hard to keep track of. There's a couple that are different sizes. As far as like they're the same size bolt, they're just a little long. One's a little longer than the other one. They look the same. So other than that, they're pretty easy to figure out where they go. Like I said, except for the one. So just keep track of them. That's pretty much it right now. I'm going to go ahead and finish pulling these plugs out. You can do 2 plugs at a time since it's a coil on plug. Basically, it fires on one side and it kind of grounds through the engine, and then it fires on the other side. I believe it fires on like the exhaust stroke as well as the compression. You're firing a plug when you don't need to, but it's supposed to make the engine more efficient. You're burning all the unneeded gases and everything. So yeah, you can do 2 plugs at a time because you're just yanking it up and then unstringing this connector from the plug over there and coming around to this side where it plugs into the ignition coil. So there's 1 coil per 2 plugs. And the only other thing right now is the wire is kind of strung. Get a holder that's right here. It's pointing up. And there's another connector right here. It's kind of, you have to feed it underneath of, but then this connector here is facing up, so you can lay it in there. So some fun fishing some stuff through there. Yay, Kia! One other thing I want to mention is make sure you match up the lengths of plug wires, because one's really shorter than the other 2, and the other 2 are just a little bit different. This first one's actually not the longest. The one that runs from back here all the way around to this front, it's the middle length one. And one final tip is, after you get your socket for your plug stuck in there, make sure you get it out before you try to shove the new boot down in there, because it doesn't work, I found out. All done. Yay! I'll go put the cover on.